Welcome to this new podcast about the death of my child, my first child, the first person ever who called me daddy or papa. After finding out it was suicide, you get a lot of other questions that come into your head. Why? Why was I not there? Why did I not notice? Are there signals that I have missed? Why, in spite of the fact that we were that close, he did not deem it fit to share? His best friend, Michael, who was with us when I found out it was suicide, that was my go-to person to know a bit about how the last years have been with him. He said to me, in the months before Dayo's suicide, Dayo has been stepping back into his own shell, not coming to places where he was supposed to come with a group of friends. He used to tell me he plays this new sport. It's not a new sport, but it's getting more and more popular in the Netherlands, which is padel. I don't know the English name because it's not a sport I follow. It's something that's a cross between squash and tennis. He plays that with a group of people who are his friends, and apparently in the last months he has been withdrawing, shutting people out. Michael was the only one that he was still confiding with and talking with during that period. Michael noticed this and asked him, what's wrong? And I think he confided a bit in Michael to say he was not really feeling fine, but everything was going to be okay. And Michael advised him to go and see a specialist, a psychologist, or whoever was a professional who could help him. And what Michael said next was, for me, really heartbreaking, as if my heart was not already broken. And it illustrates the kind of society that we find ourselves in. So apparently, like I said in the previous episode, in his youth, he has had bouts of depression, which I didn't know. We were not living together. And what Michael said was that Dayo, my son, said back to him, I'm not going to seek any so-called professional help, because when I was suffering from depression in my youth, I actually went to see a professional. I sought professional help, but the guy did not take him serious. And Dayo was not prepared to go into that trajectory again because he felt he was not being taken serious, which to me is a big shame, because these people are paid to listen to you, to help you, to find solutions to some of the problems that you may have. We live in Europe in a society where everything is monetized. Everybody is running their own rat race, so you cannot talk to people because they don't have time, so you have to pay money to go and talk to somebody who is going to listen to you, and in this case, who did not take him serious. So that during the lockdown and the COVID pandemic, when he went back into depression after several years, he did not think or felt that a so-called professional was the right person to go to. That's sad. That's very, very sad. After the death of my child, I've spoken with a couple of people young and old. And the same thing, the recurrent theme is about the individualistic society that we are living in, where you are expected to solve every situation, every problem yourself. We went to Dio's house after his death to clear his house, to arrange things and to check all his stuff, also part of our journey in looking for answers. I remember getting out of his house and I thought like, yeah, this is the society we live in, because you don't need to talk to anybody. You don't need anybody. That's the way the society has been structured. If you want to eat, you don't need to get out of your house. You don't even call anymore. You just press an app, you say, deliver food to me, and that's it. You don't talk to anybody. Whereas in the past, you went to a restaurant or you went to order food, you stay at the counter, you have a little bit of talk with people. You feel like people see you, you see people, you communicate with them. He needs clothes. All he needs to do is just press an app, order whatever. You don't go to the store, because people are finding ways of isolating the society. We are all isolated. I live in a place where, I don't know, I recognize some of my neighbors, but I don't know their names. We've never talked. And we are living together for 20 years. The little social checks and balances that people used to have, they are not there. Because it used to be your neighbor who recognizes, he says, hey, I've not seen this guy today. What's wrong? Let me check. But we don't do that anymore. Everybody is sitting behind the social media, sitting behind Netflix and all of that stuff. All the places where children used to play, the children playground, closed. No children are playing there because parents are afraid of children getting into trouble. But even children don't want to play there because all the children have their own television in their room, have television, they have their PlayStation and all the things. They are on social media the whole time. They don't have time for any other thing. And it is convenient for the parents because then they can also watch their own Netflix and abuse people on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, and all of that. There is no social interaction anymore. You do not need to get out of your house to get anything done in Europe. So who do you go to? I spoke with a lady who told me when she was feeling depressed, she could not tell her friends because all her friends were busy doing whatever they were doing. And if somebody says, hey, how are you? Nobody's actually waiting for you to say, oh, I'm not feeling fine. Because everybody's expecting you to feel fine. So who do you go to? We are all people living in our individual islands. But you are expected to also function in that society, in the society of social media, where everybody is perfect. Whereas outside the social media, everybody is miserable. But you only go to the social media when you want to show that beautiful picture you took on vacation. In the summer, you see everybody happy. They go to the beach en masse. All islands going to the beach, everybody pretending to be happy. They don't talk to each other because we don't know each other anymore. And many people can still function in that kind of environment. The environment of pretense, saying I'm okay when I'm not really okay. And then we express surprise and shock when some people just go down the drain. really a pity that that's the way things seem to go. So whereas 90% of the population can function still in that world of pretense, there is a significant number that sometimes just go kaput under the strain of all the pressures they see around them. And then you feel like probably you are a failure because everybody is succeeding on the social media, and you are looking at your own reality and you think you are failing. And you think like, I cannot talk to anybody, even my best friend. I don't want to burden people, because that's how it is also presented. If you say, oh, I have a problem, then you become a burden. Where is the Ubuntu? Where is the sense of togetherness like we have, or maybe used to have in Africa? That you are only happy when we are all happy. If you are sad, we share the sadness together. But here it becomes a burden. A lot of people are rich, they have money in their pocket, but they have nothing in their soul. The soul is empty. So what's the value of money? What's the value of being able to eat whatever you want to eat, drink whatever you want to drink, buy the best of clothes, buy the best of cars, go on vacations, but you are miserable? That's the kind of richness I've come across a lot of times here. But people are lonely, people are depressed, people are suffering. I cannot imagine, for example, some of the things that I see here, having lived here for as long as I've done. Your neighbor dies, nobody knows he dies. Somebody lies in his bed, in his house, dead for 2-3 years sometimes, and nobody knows, because nobody cares. He has no friends, because nobody is friends with each other. Everything is superficial. And then we express shock and surprise that, what? I did not know this was happening. That is the other side of so-called richness in the so-called first world. That a child cannot also talk to his parents because he feels he will be a burden. Oh, I'm 30 years old. I'm not supposed to bring my problems to my parents. That is different from where I come from, where I was born. Some of us will live in the same house with our parents, so they know what's happening. We talk to each other. You cannot avoid that. People rally around you. For example, just as a kind of takeaway, Dayo's mother, for 4 weeks, none of her colleagues, none of her bosses called her to even condole her. Not a card, not calling like, are you okay? We heard about this. Everybody just kept quiet, nothing. Where is the heart? Where is the soul? And it was just after 4 weeks that her boss called, and she did not call because she did that voluntarily from herself. It was because a friend of Dayo's mother called those people to say, what kind of people are you? And out of shame was when somebody just thought like, oh, my employee lost her only child, let me call. There is so much money, cash going around in Europe, but like somebody once said, these people are so rich, the only thing they have is money. There is always a stigma attached to the issue of mental health. I remember during COVID, I think I said that in a previous episode, I'm always a free person in my head. But during the lockdown, you could not do anything. You were confined to your house, and I almost went into that hole of depression. But I was lucky because I had some friends and somebody picked me up, and I could talk with a couple of people, and then I was able to pick up my life again. But there is this stigma. I remember when I was talking to a couple of those people, this is something you don't talk about. Whereas many of us need to talk about this, because you might be okay physically, but sometimes mentally we need somebody to give us a pep talk. If you hold my hand and I hold your hand, we will both stand stronger. But like I said earlier, everybody is running their own rat race. We are no longer looking at each other anymore. We are no longer our brother's keeper. So if I say to somebody, there is something wrong with my mental health, then I become a burden. And in a society where you are asked, where you are required to be a solver of every single life's problems, you don't want to be a burden. So you recall to yourself, and your problem becomes your problem, and your problem, and your problem. So when something like this happens here, people, government, departments become very practical. You don't have time to mourn. For example, we are sitting there mourning. It was still not 48 hours, was just maybe 24 hours after we learned about his death. And we are already being confronted with what will be. So apparently, if somebody dies, they don't leave a will, the first thing people are going to check is, does he have debts? In my child's case, because he committed suicide, we couldn't know for sure why he decided this was going to be the end. So the first thing we are confronted with is, we have to find a way to recuse the whole family from debt or any problems he might have. So the first thing was, we have to find a notary public, sign some documents to say if he has debt, we are not liable. We're thinking money when we should be mourning. Knowing what we know, for example, that it wasn't an accident also, it was actually suicide. We might be liable later along the trajectory, the people he left behind, so paying for the damages he caused. Those are some of the things that one has to face. After that day, we started making arrangements for his burial. My son did not have a burial insurance, but luckily the grandmother said, don't worry about this, we will cover the costs of the funeral. As I'm making this particular episode, it's 39 days since he has died. In those 39 days, I can count on one hand how many nights that I've actually slept peacefully for like 6 hours in the night. Because every night I wake up to go to the bathroom, I know that's the end of my night's sleep. Because I keep seeing my son writing those letters, picking up his jacket, going down from his flat, picking his car. It keeps playing in my head all over again. At this point, I have to say Unlike his mother, I had a lot of help, a lot of support, a lot of people around me who all put their arms around me. That was something I will forever in my life be grateful for. My friends, both in the Netherlands, friends in Germany, my cousins in Nigeria, calling every day to see if I was okay. Everybody put their arms around me, literally and figuratively. And my colleagues at my part-time job, those people were fantastic. It showed me the value of having good friends. Those are your emotional network, the people who slip a cushion under you when you are falling so that you don't break your legs. And I have the most wonderful friends, and everybody rallied around me, and they have been rallying around me since then. And somehow we got through the day, and he died on a Friday, and then the next Friday, a week later, was his funeral. Lastly, if you are watching this and you feel you need to talk to somebody, or you're feeling alone in the world, or maybe you are also starting your journey into the darkness of depression, or you have any mental issues, please remove the stigma. Find somebody to talk with. You have to force people to listen sometimes. It's the society we live in, is the situation of life at the moment. But there is always somebody out there, or maybe an organization, that can help, that can listen. And sometimes just talking alone is a good medicine. In the western part of Europe, where people are rich, they don't talk to each other anymore. That we need to go back. We can make modernity, social media, and all of that, we can make them work for us. Talk to somebody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. The tears are gone. Yes, they are gone. My child is gone. But the pain is forever. Take good care of yourselves.